Be scared and do it anyways. Go on that first date. Say I love you first. Start that new business. Let your fear fuel your power. Rejection is a part of a life well lived. Just because one man rejected you doesn't mean another won't come along and love you for everything you are. There are 7.8 billion people in the world and all you need is one. Sometimes it wasn't you and it wasn't him. Not everyone is meant to be together and most people need to date the wrong person first in order to find the right person later. Know who you are and no one will ever be able to use it against you. Going back to a man who hurt you means you trust in him more than you trust in your future. Trust me, your future is always better. Don't date a man who uses alcohol as an excuse for his actions. Most of the time you can't break up with someone without breaking their heart. Learn to be the bad guy because it's a better choice than being the good guy who's lying to their partner. You don't need to be friends with your ex and you don't need to be the bigger person. You just need to move on. Blocking someone is not a sign of weakness. Learn to viciously edit the negativity out of your life.
Do not care how much a woman earns as an income. Like, you make $200,000, amazing. You make $30,000, amazing. Like, those salary is not a criteria that men look for. Versus women, usually when they're trying to find a partner, they will be like, what does he do? What's his job? Right? Like, those are like the first questions that
things I wish I knew in my 20s about men from a 33-year-old. Now I'm going to hold your hand when I say this. If you're wondering if he likes you, he doesn't. Because if he liked you, you would know. The biggest green or red flag in a man is how he treats his mum. So just pay attention to that. If he only ever calls you when he's out the house, he's got a secret fiance. I mean, it's happened to me far too many times for this not to be a rule. He's liking your story, texting you, saying things like, oh, we should meet up. Never actually acts on it. You guessed it. He's not interested. This is called breadcrumbing. So he's giving you a little bit to make you feel like you're in his life in some way, but you're not. Men don't want funny. They might say they do, but they don't. Men always come back one way or another, but by that time, you're going to be in sunny Mexico.
So, I disagree with the one I disagree with the one where she said, if he only calls you when he's at home, then he might have a secret lover or a woman. No. It depends on what he does. If he's a business person, if he's someone who is goal oriented, who is someone who has a target, you should know that you need to give him his space. Like, if he calls you after that, you should also, like, at some point find out why he always calls you at that time. Because if you are in his life, you're going to know that, okay, from this time to this time, he is working, he is busy, he is doing this or that, this and this or that. It's not necessarily that he calls you when he's at home because he has another woman. I disagree. And number two, I disagree also that if he treats his mom badly, then he's going to treat you badly. Guys, do you know that there's some moms that are not worthy to be called moms? Like, they're so toxic. So sometimes the way the guys treat the moms is a reflection of how their moms treated them when they were young. And most of the time, such people or such guys have trauma, unhealed trauma, caused mostly by this mother that they disrespect. So communication is very important. You need to communicate with the guy and ask him, like, why do you do this? Why do you talk to your mom like this? And if he doesn't give you any concrete explanation, then you have to make a decision. Either you want to stay there and be the next person to be disrespected in that manner, or you walk off, like you go, or you dump him. Like, the decision is yours, but communication is very important in this case because there are so many toxic parents out there.
Men don't want funny. They might say they do, but they don't. Men always come back one way.
Nothing replaces him. Let's talk about the 10 things I wish I knew when I was dating the wrong guy. Nothing replaces him prioritizing you. Not his job, not his looks, not his adorable pug, or the fact that his mom loves you. If you'd rather spend his time hanging out with his buddies or other women, he's not for you. You'll know if he likes you when you stop having to ask yourself whether or not he likes you. Being with an older man doesn't mean he's a more mature man. It just means you're with an older man. Immaturity has no age limit. Heartbreak is a great teacher. The relationships that ended will teach you the lessons you need to learn before you find the one that will last. It's okay if you once loved him but don't anymore. Not all love is meant to last forever. It was still valid and it was still love. Date a guy who won't judge you for ordering the burger instead of the salad. If he doesn't know whether or not he wants to be with you, it means he doesn't. Don't let yourself be a choice. Find a man who makes you his only choice. There are many good men in the world, some of which you'll date, but most of whom won't be your person. Let them go when you know they're not yours so that they can go and find their person. Watch how he treats the less fortunate. It's eventually how he'll treat you. Don't listen to other people who tell you how to behave in order to attract a man. Changing your actions when they're not in line with your beliefs is a guaranteed way to attract the wrong guy. There is someone out there who will love the good, the bad, the ugly, and the weird in you. Attract yourself first by loving and living the freak out of your life, and the right man will find that attractive.
In my 20s about men from a 33-year-old. If he only ever wants to meet up last minute, and when he does, he won't take no for an answer. He is just not that into you. I actually had to leave my phone in my mum's room one night. This guy would not leave me alone. She got like 30 booty calls. This full-on approach may seem like he really is obsessed with you, but actually it's the complete opposite. Because if they liked you, they would reschedule. This guy who unknowingly rang my 6-year-old mother 30 times in one night completely blanked me in a bar like a few weeks later. If they leave you waiting for an hour on your first date, don't stick around. I did this once. I even wore a dress, like a full length, it was a really pretty dress, to a pub, and everyone was staring at me. Everyone knew, but he was the son of a lord, so I thought, you know what, what's another 5 minutes? If they tell you you're too good for them, run. He's not wrong. You are too good for him, but if he knows you're too good for him, he knows you're out of his league, and he still doesn't want you, run for the hills, lassie. If you've only ever seen the inside of his bedroom, there is no way up from there. There ain't gonna be no dates. There isn't gonna be any hand holding in public, and you're ordering your own Uber home and he says to you, "Where do you live again?" Well, that's just about as good as it's gonna get.
The "where do you live again" got me. Oh my God. Oh my God. How can he forget where you live? Because that's where almost all the guys want to know where you live, because they can find you. And this guy doesn't really care to know where you live, because you make yourself so available to him, and he doesn't need to struggle to find you. Ladies, we need to do better. We need to do better. If he asks you, "Where do you live again?" run for the hills.
Let's talk about the 20 things I wish I knew while dating in my 20s. If you have to ask yourself if you're in the right relationship, you're probably in the wrong relationship. There is somebody out there waiting to love you more than you ever thought possible. Don't quit before you find them. There are no shortcuts to healing from heartbreak. Allow yourself to feel it, and eventually you'll move past it. Sometimes good men do bad things. It doesn't mean you have to forgive them, but it doesn't mean you have to demonize them either. Learn to leave someone without villainizing them. You'll never find peace if you ask for it from the person who disturbed your peace in the first place. Learn to love your loneliness. It's what will protect you from giving yourself away to all the wrong men. Sometimes all you need to do is ugly cry and eat Haagen-Dazs directly from the carton. Let yourself be the stereotype, and you can laugh about it later. Be scared and do it anyways. Go on that first date. Say "I love you" first. Start that new business. Let your fear fuel your power. Rejection is a part of a life well lived. Just because one man rejected you doesn't mean another won't come along and love you for everything you are. There are 7.8 billion people in the world, and all you need is one. Sometimes it wasn't you and it wasn't him. Not everyone is meant to be together, and most people need to date the wrong person first in order to find the right person later. Know who you are, and no one will ever be able to use it against you. Going back to a man who hurt you means you trust in him more than you trust in your future. Trust me, your future is always better. Don't date a man who uses alcohol as an excuse for his actions. Most of the time, you can't break up with someone without breaking their heart. Learn to be the bad guy, because it's a better choice than being the good guy who's lying to their partner. You don't need to be friends with your ex, and you don't need to be the bigger person. You just need to move on. Blocking someone is not a sign of weakness. Learn to viciously edit the negativity out of your life. Dare to ask for more, because it's the only way you'll get it. You can love somebody and also know they're not right for you. Your worth is not defined by who didn't love you. Your worth is defined by how you overcame being unloved. There is always time to start over and become the person you want to be. You can resolve to start on May 8th and a half just as much as you can on January 1st. So what are you waiting for? Start now.
She's spitting facts. All you need to do is take what you want from what she said and live your life stress-free. Life is free. We should be happy. We should live our lives without stressing ourselves on people who don't really care about us. You know, in this life, all you have is you.
And by who didn't love you. Your worth is defined by how you overcame being unloved. There is always time to start over and become the person you want to be. You can resolve to start on May 8th and a half just as much as you can on January 1st. So what are you waiting for? Start now.
Okay, so something that I recently learned that I literally did not know is that men do not care how much a woman earns as an income. Like, you make $200,000, amazing. You make $30,000, amazing. Like, those salary is not a criteria that men look for. Versus women, usually when they're trying to find a partner, they will be like, what does he do? What's his job? Right? Like, those are like the first questions that usually women ask. Versus men, they don't ask that. They're not like, oh, like, what does she do for work? Like, that's probably like maybe question number 3, right? It's like less of an importance. And I did not know that.
I would like to disagree. With this, we need to talk about men and boys, because we know there are men and there are boys. Men are the ones who know that deep down in them, they have the instinct to provide and to protect. They are the providers and the protectors. But the boys are the men who have grown up. They are adults, but they don't want to take responsibility. They are not providers. They are not protectors. They go after women because of their money. They ask for 50-50. When they are with a woman, they want her to take care of, they want to share the bills. They want to split the bills. They want to split the rent. They want to split almost everything 50-50. So those are the boys. Yes, what you said it makes sense, right? Men, real men, will go after a woman not because of what she earns, but they have other things that they look for in a woman. But boys go after women who make money, who make maybe the same or more than them, so that they can exploit the women financially. And these are the kind of men who ask 50-50, they'll treat the women so bad, and all that. So when we make this point, we have to be clear on that. It's very important. And it's becoming more and more popular nowadays. So many men are moving away or are shifting away from the responsibility, like their natural biological responsibility of providing and protecting women. They are shifting to the other side and saying, no, why should I protect and provide for a woman when there is gender equality, feminism? Women are now competing for resources with men in the public sphere. Women are earning money. Women are buying property. Women have wealth. There's so many women who are entrepreneurs. They are CEOs. So these men, I would say boys, will say, why should I provide for such a woman, right? Because she has so much money. Let's split everything. She has to take responsibility as well. She needs to spend her own money in all this. But at the end of the day, like marriage is a partnership. Like every decision you see a couple make, they decide, they sit down, they talk about it, and they come to a conclusion that of the steps that they're going to take after the discussion. So it's more of partnership. So I would say men and women, if they're together like husband and wife and they have income, it becomes one income, the household income, and they use this income to run the home, right? The bills, the food, the clothes, everything, and the rents and everything. They do it jointly. So maybe this discussion is also more of back in the day, but in recent times, there has been a tremendous shift from the way things used to be in the past.